So today I'm going to talk about 6 applications that I use every day on my Linux system. These are applications that I rely on to get work done, and also just some that are just nice to have. These are applications that are not the creative apps that I've talked about before. So these are 6 applications that I use every day that aren't the creative apps. Let's get started. So I'm going to open up Obsidian, which is one of the apps, but first we're going to talk about a different app to start off with. And that first app we're going to talk about is a music player called AMBEROL. AMBEROL is a simple music app that plays music on your local system. And that's all I need and all I want for the most part, most of the time. The way it actually looks when you launch it with no album loaded, no folder loaded is like this. And you can make a playlist and restore it, or add a folder, add one song, whatever you want to do. So oftentimes I'll just go and add the folder of the album I want, or the folder of the artist, or something like that. When I first started thinking about this move to Linux, part of the motivation was on the consumption side as much as it was on the creative side. And it's not just about Linux; it's about owning your content. Again, just like old school times, buying your music, whether it's CDs, vinyl, or MP3s, and being able to play it whenever you want. Just like a lot of people, I get tired of subscriptions. So being in control of my music is something I miss. So I wanted to find an app that was simple, that did the job, like the old school Win app that I used to use on Windows way back when, or the original iTunes, the first few original iTunes apps that were about playing music on your computer, and that was really it. And on Mac, I found an app called Ina, and that's really cool. There's no Linux version, so I searched for something when I did this switch and found AMBEROL pretty much right away. I'll put the link in the description. But AMBEROL is a fantastic app. It does exactly what I need it to do and not much more. And right now, that's my music app, and I have music up a lot of the time when I'm on my Linux system, and that's the app I use. I'm open to other suggestions though. If you guys have other simple music player suggestions, let me know. The next app I want to talk about is the app I'm actually using to read my notes for this video, and that's Obsidian. Obsidian is a note-taking app, an app for you to build your knowledge graph, your second brain. It's a tool for the Zettelkasten method of keeping and taking notes. It can be all these things. It can be just a simple, text editor, note-taking, writing app. It can be very simple or feature-rich, depending on how you want to configure it. There are a ton of cool core plugins that the developers have included, and there's a pretty solid community built around this as well, and the community has built a lot of useful plugins also. My favorite features of Obsidian are the fact that I can write in a simple markdown format, so there's no secret proprietary file format for my notes. Not only that, but I can take those simple markdown files at any moment and move them to another system really easily. Even if you're using the Obsidian service to sync your notes, they're not hidden behind some database or in some sort of protected file. They're just markdown files, and that's it. I'll show you real quick an example. I don't even know if I have anything written in this one, but let's look up. So here's the folder, my inbox folder on my Obsidian app, and there's just a whole bunch of markdown files. I can use those markdown files in any app I want and move them anywhere I want, and I love that freedom. And I used to use a whole bunch of different note-taking apps. I've tried a whole bunch over the years. Way back when I was Evernote, an Evernote user, and all the popular ones. But Obsidian is the one I currently use. But like I said, I just have a collection of markdown notes. I can move them at any time, and I might someday. I'm looking at LogSeq. I might move them just to standalone folders and use Vim or Emacs. We'll see. But right now it's Obsidian, and I like Obsidian. I like the developers are doing some cool things. It's not open source, but they're a small team, and it seems pretty cool right now. Oh, then the thing I should also take about Obsidian is that you can use Vim key bindings. That's built in. It's not turned on by default, but it is built in, which is really, really nice. The next app is actually Vim. No surprise here, but I don't use, like I said, I'm not a huge programmer. I write simple scripts and whatnot here and there, but so I don't use Vim for coding necessarily. Most of the time it's for writing or note taking, but I am becoming more and more comfortable with Vim. And as I do that, I find myself using it for more and more. From anything from editing config files, things like that, to actually writing blogs or notes or ideas or things like that. I'm using Vim more and more. And like I said, eventually I could see Vim overtaking Obsidian, and I'll just use one writing app for most everything. The cool thing with my Vim setup is right now I think right now I have my Mac and my Linux system set up very similar for Vim. I am trying NeoVim, but right now I'm just still using straight Vim. But I love Vim. It does simple things for me. I do more advanced things in it when I need to as well. And I should say honorable mentions for a simple text editor are VS Code and XED. I don't know how to pronounce it. But basically whatever built-in text editor is in my install, and right now that's XED. It could be gedit, could be other things, but right now it's XED, because a lot of times I just need a simple text editor, nothing super fancy. Firefox is the next app. Everyone needs a web browser. Firefox is mine of choice. When I'm using a Mac, Safari is what I use. It gets the job done. You know, I'm not a huge fanboy of any browser specifically. I use what's useful, simple, fast. I know people have issues with Firefox, and people have issues with Chrome. People have issues with Safari. There's everyone has the browser of choice and are able to defend it in their own way. Firefox works great for me. When I'm on a Mac, if I'm not using Safari, it's Firefox, and I could see myself using Firefox for my main browser across the board soon. I try to avoid Chrome on all my devices, just a personal choice. I'm not a huge fan of Chrome. So Firefox is my browser, and it is important for me to be able to use it on here. Another app that's really handy and has made my transition to Linux super, I don't want to say simple, but just it's made my transition a lot easier and a lot nicer, is an app called LOCALSEND. So on Mac, you're probably familiar with a feature called AirDrop. And AirDrops allows you to send files or text or items from between your Apple devices, from your phone to your Mac, from your Mac to your iPad, vice versa. It's really simple. It's built in. It's pretty seamless. And I didn't really realize that there'd be a simple solution to get this on my Linux system, and there is, and it's called LOCALSEND. And not only that, but I can install LOCALSEND on my Mac, on my Apple devices, so I can send files and links between each device relatively seamlessly. It's been awesome to use, and like I said, it's made me feel like I haven't really lost anything in that feature set. So I do send stuff between my devices all the time, and LOCALSEND is a crucial app I pretty much use every day. I invite you to check it out. I have to give a shout out to actually this one I don't know who recommended this one. It was some YouTube video that I found LOCALSEND from, and I'm thankful for that. So check out LOCALSEND if you want AirDrop type features from device to device. Okay, so the next app I want to talk about is Rofi, and I talked about Rofi a few times before. I'm still playing around with my Rofi config. I've tweaked the theme, I've tweaked the settings. Right now I'm keeping it pretty simple as I get used to it and I understand how the config works and all this stuff. So I use Rofi basically to launch my apps. That's the main purpose for me to use Rofi, is an app launcher. It can also be a window switcher, so I can see what windows I have open and switch between them. So we can also switch between workspaces as well, depending on which windows are open. So I like that feature, but the app switching feature is the main feature I use Rofi for. Shout out to Distro2 for this recommendation. I actually learned this before I made the actual switch, but it's been a godsend. And again, it's one of those key features for me that I use every day. I it makes it so when I'm doing my everyday navigating and operating, I can use the mouse a little less. I'm a huge mouse user, but I do take advantage of these things that utilize keyboard shortcuts and stuff that allows me just to minimize the obstacles to get what I want done. So being able to launch my apps from Rofi is super nice, and I'm still, like I said, I'm still figuring it out. But I think if you want a cool, simple, minimal app launcher, window switcher, check out Rofi. There's a lot that it does that I haven't really utilized yet, but I will, and I'll talk about Rofi maybe in a dedicated video. So I wanted to try to make this quick video just to talk about these 6 apps that I use on a daily basis. You Linux users probably know, or actually most of you may know all of them already, but I just want to talk about it because I've talked about some of the creative apps, but more than even those, I'm in these all the time. I'm always playing music, I'm always writing or reading notes, and Obsidian or Vim. I need FIREFOX to operate my YouTube channel, to watch more YouTube, to read articles, to read blogs, obviously all that stuff, download things. LOCALSEND has been a godsend for me to switch to send stuff between devices. And then Rofi is like one of my epicenters, one of my key tools on my system to be able to launch the apps I want to launch and eventually do other things with it. Since I last talked to you guys, I do have this new desktop theme and theme in general with some other features that I've enabled. I'll talk about more of this later, but I did have a little preview of this screenshot on my on the Patreon page for the channel. I also have these desktop wallpapers that I made in Midjourney. I think I made like between 7 to 9 or something of them, just cyberpunk inspired wallpapers that I made in Midjourney. I wanted to make them for my system. I made a few, so I thought they were pretty cool. I wanted to share them with you guys, so you guys can download those on Patreon. All you have to do, all you have to do is become a free member, and then you can download them. I think I'm still figuring out Patreon, so get on there. There's the free membership. There's also the paid tiers and all that. So that's it for now, guys. Just want to share these 6 apps. I hope you guys are well. I have more videos coming soon. I have a long video list actually, and so far this switch is going great. I'm loving my system, and do plan to do that PC build someday soon. So that's it for now, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again as always. Please leave a comment and join the Patreon. Talk to you soon.